How y'all doing? It's your boy Greg here with another video. And this one's going to be a little bit satisfying. At least one part of it will be. So first, I want to talk about the Iowa UConn game. Just a quick before I get into that, South Carolina blew the hell out of NC State. NC State had a great season, but you kind of saw where the game was going in the second quarter of that South Carolina game. South Carolina's got a lot of size. And NC State, they were a decently sized team, but South Carolina was just too much for them, blew them out by 19. But the game that I guess everybody wanted to see was Iowa-UConn. It was a good game. UConn had a big lead in the first half. Iowa basically caught up at the end of the third, tied the game up. Iowa came up with a big lead in the fourth quarter. Got a little sloppy. Came down to the last possession where UConn had the ball with about 10 seconds left. They're running their play. Looks like Paige Beckers was going to come around for a curl, take a jump shot where her teammate set an illegal screen and was called for an offensive foul. Now, pretty much everybody on social media was saying how that was such a bad call and how you can't make a call there at the end of the game. Very, very few people were saying it was a good call, if any, at the time. Basically, everybody was in unison saying you can't make that call there. And then maybe about an hour, 2 hours later, everybody kind of saw the replay. And, some people started kind of seeing the light. I mean, I don't know what you want the referee to do. The referee saw a person do an illegal screen, and he called it, and it was a legit call. It was a good call. I really don't understand what the issue is here. I do understand what the issue is. The issue is that as fans, we're so used to them ignoring that call. So when they actually make the right call, we don't know how to react, or at least most people don't know how to react. When I first saw it, I said, great call. Because if you look at any of the videos that I've made previously about basketball, one of the biggest complaints that I have is that these referees let these players do whatever they want. You can travel, you can set an illegal screen and move, you can double dribble, you can pretty much do whatever you want. And they're saying that these players are so much better. They're not better. They're just getting away with so much more, and these referees don't call it. And it's happening in pro basketball. It's happening in college basketball. And the one time the referee actually gets it right, they're ready to hang this ref. Thankfully, I think most people are kind of showing that it was the right call. And honestly, I don't understand this logic about, oh, well, you can't call it there. No. If you're going to go by that logic and say you're going to let the players play, then why would I dribble the basketball? Don't call it that when the game is on the line. I'll just run to the rim and just shoot a basket or whatever. And I won't even dribble. I mean, that's so stupid. You have to call the call when you see the call. It is the player's responsibility to be fundamentally sound and not make mistakes. She moved on a screen. The UConn player moved on a screen. You call it. That's it. I mean, what are we doing here? You got to be fundamentally sound. You got to be well coached. And it's just that simple. I mean, there's really not much to really discuss here except that I'm just happy, so happy that I really hope this starts a trend where, these referees are going to start calling, at the very least in the last 2 minutes, whatever, and they're going to start calling these calls, man, because they need to be called. They really should be calling them throughout the game. But I know these leagues are trying to act like these guys can score all these points and they don't make mistakes or whatever. They're going to try to ignore it as much as possible. But at least in the last 2 minutes of the game, can you at least, if somebody does these type of screens, double dribbles or travels, call it, please, because it's just bad basketball when you watch it. And I'm just so happy that they finally did it. I don't care what the social media is reacting, whatever. It was a great call, probably the best call of the year. It's giving me hope for maybe the future of basketball, and we can get back to real basketball, because it's just really bad to watch, man. It's just these travels. It's like they do whatever they want to do. They move on these screens. It's terrible basketball. So thank God it was finally called, and I hope it starts a trend. I really do, because I've been complaining about this forever. If you follow my channel, which I know a lot of people don't, but I've been complaining about this forever. And this is hopefully a first step in just getting back to real basketball. As far as, look, man, so now Iowa won, and they're playing South Carolina in the finals. As far as Caitlin Clark's legacy, it's kind of hard to judge and compare to some of the great women college basketballs of the past. You know, so many people have won like multiple national championships, but pretty much all the people who've won multiple national championships have played on teams like UConn, Tennessee, you know, Baylor, like, you know, like big time programs where they have multiple stars on their team. You know, if Caitlin Clark wins this championship, she absolutely has a GOAT argument. You know, I'm not like I said, I'm not the hugest women's college basketball. I do follow it, but I do disagree with people who say that she doesn't have to win it to be the GOAT. She absolutely needs a championship to win a GOAT. And for the people who are saying that she doesn't, I think they just don't believe she can do it. You know, a lot of people picked LSU to beat Iowa. I thought Iowa was going to win. I think Iowa was going to beat South Carolina as well. I just think it's her year. I think South Carolina has a lot of size, and that's going to be a big problem. But Iowa is physical, and I don't think they really have anybody that can guard Caitlin Clark on that team. UConn did actually a very good job on her. That's probably the best job you're going to see all. Well, no, Kansas State did a decent job on it too. But I don't think I don't think South Carolina can do anything about it. But I do think UConn's going to be very good. UConn actually competed really well against Iowa, better than I thought they would. They had a lot of injuries this year, which a lot of people have been pointing out. So they will probably be, if the favorite, probably them in South Carolina next year, because they have a lot of people coming back. Obviously, somebody on that training staff needs to be looked at UConn, because they got a lot of injuries on that team, and maybe they need to start looking at that training staff, because, I mean, geez, you have that many injuries, you need to kind of, something needs to be done. I mean, you missed Paige Beckers for 2 years. This year you got 3 starters hurt and another 2 subs that you were thinking they were going to be in your rotation. I mean, kudos to them for making it this far. They had a chance to win it at the end, but, you know, you got to look at your training staff a little bit, because that's a problem. But good season for UConn. Gino's obviously the best to ever do it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring to the table next year. Probably going to be them in South Carolina. So I want to switch gears, and I want to talk about Fresh and Fit. It's a popular podcast that I actually, from time to time, you know, engage in. They don't say everything that I like to hear. I mean, they're coming from, when I say that, I feel like they're coming from a different perspective than me. I'm more of a, you know, there's only so far I can go with like the red pill stuff because of my biblical faith. You know, I believe in the Bible, so I can't go as crazy as they go. But I do recognize some points that they make, and I respect how their boldness in saying it. So, the one thing I don't necessarily agree with is some of their takes on like on how they deal with women or whatever. You know, I understand. Obviously, you know, they're rich and they're popular. They're obviously in shape or whatever, so they feel they can get whatever woman they want, and they think that they should be dating multiple women and everything like that. And, you know, I can't tell somebody what to do. You know, did they ask my advice when I say do that? I'll probably say, you know, the Bible doesn't really encourage stuff like that. But I know the temptation of that, and I can't, you know, so it's a hard temptation to fight. So that's how they want to live. Fine. But my issue is that there was this phone call that was leaked, and it shows one of the half of the crew, Fresh, was talking to his girlfriend or one of his people he's messing with or whatever, and she's saying she's pregnant and she wants to keep the baby, and he's pushing her to get an abortion, take a pill to kill the kid or whatever. And yes, I said kill the kid because that's what abortion does, is kill the kid. Yeah, I believe that life begins at conception. I believe that God knows the child before it's even conceived. So I am saying how it is, But before I even get into all that, I just want to say, look, it's a serious situation, man. I'm not here to kind of pile on Fresh or whatever. Like I said, I don't have no real beef with them. I don't know them like that. They don't know me. I'm just making this video to make a point of what people who may be following the situation. I just want to give my 2 cents of advice, and if they choose to take it, take it. If not, I wish everybody the best. But I just want to first and foremost say that, y'all, honestly, I'm praying for Fresh, and if this situation is real, I'm praying for him, I'm praying for the girl, and obviously I'm praying for the child. I want nothing but the best for all three. Hopefully they can come to a situation where they're all happy and all alive, and that's what I'm going to be praying for. I think the ideal thing would be, if they're pregnant, that they form a relationship and hopefully it leads to marriage. I know they don't like marriage, but that's what I'm hoping for. If marriage can't be worked out, I hope they have some sort of like arrangement where both parents are involved in the child's life, and I hope that's how it goes. And but if he doesn't want to be involved in that child's life, I do hope, even though I hate single parenthoods and whatever, I hope that baby does make it out of the womb and make it into life, because it's important. I hate death, I hate murder, so I want that to happen for the child. Just hold on one second. Sorry about that. So yeah. Also, another thing I just wanted to say, this is like in general. This is not really about Fresh. This is just kind of speaking about the situation. If you fornicate, and this includes myself, you got to take responsibility for what happens. All right? The best way to handle women as far as making sure that you don't have kids out of wedlock is don't have sex. Don't have sex. And, wait till marriage if you want to really, that's if you want to, get really involved with a girl. That's the best way to do it. That's the biblical way to do it. That's how God wants you to do it. And God knows best. Regardless of what anybody says on the internet, God knows best. God has your best interest out for you. He's saying don't have sex before marriage. That's God talking. You find it in the Bible. It's all over there. I'm just letting you know. But if you're going to do it, you're going to go raw, it's very hard to resist temptation. You got to accept the responsibility. You got to know, look, if I do this, a child might come out of this thing, and you got to be prepared. You can't make excuses. You can't say I don't want the child. You can't say I'm not ready for children. If you're not ready for children, don't have sex. Otherwise, accept the responsibility, have a plan, and do what you have to do. And that's accepting responsibility as far as also with diseases. If you catch a disease, you can't really complain. You gotta be ready for that if you're going to have sex with anybody. So again, that's why you want to try to limit your partners, and hopefully it'll be one person for life. But if it's not, you gotta, like I said, be aware that these things can happen. You might catch a disease, you might get a woman pregnant. You know, it's not just fun and games. There's real consequences to sleeping around. All right. Another thing I wanted to say is I already kind of said it already. Abortion is murder. No matter what anybody says, you have a dead child. And if you try to convince a woman, then you're liable. Now, I know I've done a lot of bad things in my life. I'm nowhere near perfect. I am a sinner saved by grace. But one thing I can say is that I never convinced or I never tried to tell a woman that she needs to get an abortion. I never told a woman that she needs to get on birth control. I never did. You know, I'm not a virgin, so if it happened, I was just gonna accept it. You know, so shouldn't have even done that. Shouldn't have had sex before marriage. I did do it, and it was wrong. But if it would have went down and I would have got a girl pregnant, I would have accepted it, and you know, probably would have tried to have a serious relationship with that girl that I did it with. But so. And if you do convince a girl to go on birth control is not like some like safe pill. You know, there's consequences to being on birth control. It affects moods, it affects health. So again, if you don't want, if you care about the woman, if you care about the girl at all, don't encourage her to get on birth control, man. Like, she can be it can really mess her up. Look at the side effects of all the things that birth control can cause. It's not good, man. It's all over the internet. Just check it if you don't believe me. So, last thing I want to talk about is Emmanuel Acho and the comments he made about Angel Reese, which I totally agreed with. His original comments about her basically acting like a tough guy and then crying and saying how she's a victim and she's been sexualized and, you know, she's been receiving all these, bad comments about her college career and everything like that. I don't feel bad for her in the slightest. I think, like I said, I'm not going to say she deserved death threats or nothing like that, but, you know, I just think that she invited all this stuff by being a jerk, man. She's entitled, she's rude, she's obnoxious. Like, that's what she has showed us on the court. I can only go by as a fan of what you show me on the court. You know, you want to carry yourself in a certain way, and then you don't want people to have a reaction. You want people to watch you, and you want to benefit off. Like, this is what I don't understand about these players, dude. Like, they get upset when you have an emotional reaction. You're tuning in, which they want you to do. They don't want you to not care. But then when you watch them, when you watch them and you have a reaction and you care and you make a comment or you do stuff, then they get upset. But it's like, do you want the fame and the money and the NIL money or not? Obviously, she wants it. She flaunts it all over the internet. But then she doesn't want the negative comments. And it's like, the negative comments wouldn't come. I mean, they would come. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't please everybody, whatever. But as far as from the general public who really has no ill will towards any real athlete, whatever, it comes from the fact that you're being rude to people. Like, I've never seen somebody, I'm talking about last year when LSU won the championship. You're winning the championship. Why do you care about embarrassing Caitlin Clark? You go out of your way to basically, like, put your hand in her face to try to show her that you want a ring. She's walking away from you, and you're chasing her down to, like, try and mock her and make her feel bad and everything like that. And, you know, like, that, like, after that, I don't understand. And honestly, that was so bad, it should have been corrected by her coach, Kim Mulkey. And my friend always tries to tell me, oh, Kim Mulkey's this big conservative, and I'm a conservative as well. And so you should like her and everything like that. But honestly, I didn't really, like, get into Kim Mulkey at Baylor like that. Like, I knew she won, but I never really, like, followed her like I'm following her now. And I just think that she has no control of her players. She lets them do whatever they want. She doesn't call him out for nothing. If that was me, I would never let my player embarrass another player like that. That's embarrassing to me. And the fact that she felt no embarrassment is just like a bad look for her. She's supposed to be like this conservative with like Christian values and everything like that. But then you're gonna let another person embarrass another player like that. That's ridiculous, man. I'm sorry. She should have jumped in there and she should have called her behind out and she should have yelled at. I would have been. I wouldn't have cared about the championship at that point because now I'm not winning with class, and injury showed no class whatsoever. And it's like when somebody finally calls her out on it, which Acho did. He gets killed, he gets criticized, and it's just I feel bad for him, man. I feel and obviously he felt a little bit bad about stuff that he was hearing because he's trying to like make a video to say that I heard y'all. Some people showed me some commentary about what they disagreed with, and I appreciate what y'all been saying. You know, and this is where I'm going to disagree with Whitlock and Steve Kim and all these people who are basically saying he sold out or whatever. He did not apologize for what he said. He basically said that you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, and we can come to a common common agreement about that you believe that and I believe this and everything like that. And I guess what Whitlock's point was you can't really be nice to these people because they're just gonna walk all over you and everything like that. But you know what? If that's how he felt he needed to react, I would have really only had a problem with it if he would apologize for what he said, which he didn't do. He did say something like, what did he say? He said something about how he's accepting a respectful reprimand. That was a little weird. But he didn't apologize. And I think, he's not in a situation like Whitlock or Thomas Sotomayor where he has got independent media. He has to work with these people every day. So I get what he's trying to do. I'm not saying Whitlock's wrong that he should have stood 10 toes down and everything like that. But I feel like he kind of already made his point. And I thought it was very brave of him on that platform to be able to say what he said. Because he knew he was going to get killed and whatever. And I kind of feel bad for him because I think people trying to challenge him and say he's soft or whatever. But I don't look at it that way, man. I think he's in a tough spot. You don't want to get killed all the time. It's hard to be like just an uncaring person where you're just like not worried about what people are saying about you. I would have liked him to be a little bit more stronger in his stance, but I didn't see him backing off of what he said. I just think that he was listening to what other people were saying. And it came off like he was kind of, not being strong in his stance of what he originally said. But there was no apology. So I think the people who want to see him basically, get all in people's faces about things, they might be taking a little too far too. But I'm glad he said it. I hope this experience of them getting on it, hopefully he sees that, no matter what he says, they're going to get on him if he's on the wrong side of what should be said. So, or what they believe should be said. So ultimately you just tell the truth and just kind of, whatever happens, happens. We're all going through it. And, so I hope that's a lesson learned for him. But I'm praying for him too, man, because that really stinks that you can't be honest. And I don't understand these gatekeepers who are just like trying to defend Angel Reese. She has not carried herself as a person that should be rooted for. She has been the villain. No, and that's fine. Again, like you said, like there's some people who embrace that role, but I mean, I think she's been more than a villain because it's not just like talking trash during the game. It's kind of seeping outside the game where you're talking trash to assistant coaches and you're like I said, that Caitlin Clark thing last year where you're chasing people down and trying to embarrass people. That's not happening during the game, competitive game. You're 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 being a jerk. Like you're being a jerk, and again, like she gets upset like when people say that she's being a jerk, and she wants to make it like, oh, you're sexualizing me, you're doing all this or whatever. No, you deserve what you got coming. Like you do. Nobody is being mean to you. You are just getting the appropriate response for you being a complete clown. So that's how I feel about it. Um, I don't wish anything against her on the court. If she earns championships in the WNBA, good for her. But I'm not rooting for her. No way. She's not somebody I would want to root for. So, and honestly, her game is really not that exciting either. To be honest, she's a great rebounder. She's a great rebounder. That's basically what she is. She's a great rebounder. She gets offensive rebounds. That's what she does. I mean, there's a place for that in basketball. Obviously, you need people who can rebound, but it's not the most entertaining thing. So honestly, her game really doesn't match her height. You know, she gets it from just trying to be this glamour girl, this big personality, whatever. And I guess she's doing a good job of it. But as far as her actual game, it's just a regular game. It's a good. That's my game. That's how I used to play. Defense, rebounding, not a great score. Like that's pretty much how I play. So I enjoy it, but most people won't. No, most people won't appreciate it. So anyway, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. This was kind of a very